Hey friends. So this is going to be my first podcast episode. This is something that has been in my consciousness for quite some time. Many years, probably 15 years. And if you know me personally, the last 10 years have been challenging to say the least. But that's humanness. And I want this podcast to honor our journey of humanness, to honor each of our journeys and our unique experiences that do shape us, but that don't define us. So the name of the podcast is Living the Light. And again, I want to honor the human experiences. And I also want to remind us that we are not defined by those experiences. And that each day, my personal devotion is to come back to that inner light, no matter what. And some days that's easier, some moments that's easier than other times. But that light is always within, even through the shadows, even through the darkness, even through our biggest challenges and deep traumas. And I'm going to share a small piece of one of the most devastating events in my life this far. Something that has been life-changing for me. And to this day, the pieces I'm still working through. I didn't want to wait, and there's not really an end. There's not like somewhere we get. We're always evolving through life, and there's ebbs and there's flows, and that's life. And so here I am, still learning to live my light, still processing through different things, but perhaps the biggest catalyst for growth that I didn't want is what I'm about to share. And, for years, I couldn't speak about this. I had severe PTSD, and I just, it still feels raw, but it was so raw, and it was just so overwhelming for me that I literally could not speak about it. And then in the years to follow, I had gentle nudges to share. And then I probably let fear stop me, fear of being misunderstood, fear of judgment, because I was judging myself on some level. Even though I would come back to that alignment of knowing like the truth, and that we all have these experiences and they're all part of a divine plan, again, for soul growth, for so many reasons, which we may not even know in this lifetime. But we're not alone in them. Even if my experience is not the same as your experience, we've all endured something. And so I want this to be a bridge. I only want to tell the story once. I want to honor it, and I want to release it. And it may be sensitive to some of you. And I just feel like I'm still gonna share. So most of you know, I want to say like my prior life, but for years and years, I've always been in the health and wellness field, and that's taken many different avenues. And right after Patrick and I got married in 2016, or even before that, I really shifted in a way that, I always want to help. I always want to, I don't know, caretaking has probably been one of the things I've been doing since I was way too young. And so, there's a recognition of that as well. But really, I just have always just had an open heart for humans, animals, just life itself, right? And that's where I think the piece where, like, just I had this life beyond my work that was, my little family, my bully pack of 4 dogs that everyone knows, everyone's seen the pictures, and to this day. And I lost 3 of them in a very short period of time, and it was life changing. But rewinding back a little bit, our boy Micah, we used to call him Puppy Man because he'll always be our little puppy, but he was like, wanted to be such a man in some ways too. He was especially vulnerable. All of our dogs had their unique things, as we all do. They mirror us as humans. And he was a little bit more vulnerable, and he had something different with his brain. And we had worked with an amazing veterinarian for years with him. She was a veterinarian. She was also Western and Eastern doctor and beyond. So she helped him in so many different capacities, and she was amazing. Her name was Dr. Starita. I feel like I should honor her. And I would tell him each night, I would always say, first of all, to him, thank you for letting me be your mom. And I would also say, like, thank you to Dr. Starita. She's helping you. And, we never really knew, how his life would turn out, but he was the sweetest little boy, the sweetest puppy. Everybody loved Micah. Like, all of the dogs, they just loved him in their own different, unique ways. They each had their relationship with him in a different way. And as his mom, like, I felt like I birthed that boy. all my children, I literally call them my children because they are. Like, that was such a time in my life where I just devoted so much time and energy into my dogs. Like, they really were just my life. So at one point, Micah was about 3 years old, and I noticed he was changing a little bit. He was on a good path for a while, and Dr. Streeta said, give me a call and let me know how he's doing. We'll see. And something had shifted, and I said, we're gonna call and check in with Dr. Streeta. And when I called, I realized that she had passed away suddenly. So that was devastating. But I worked with him in so many ways myself. Like I said, it was really just my kind of a life mission and my purpose. My dogs were like my purpose during that time. And fast forward to Black Friday, November 2019, and Michael was having a harder day. It seemed he was agitated, and his brother Koda was trying to play with him, and I was like, leave your brother alone, because he just felt a little agitated. So, long story short, these 2 dogs that had played together every day and drank water together and loved each other were running their laps around the yard, and seeing Micah just got scared, and he attacked Koda. And so a fight ensued. It was not quick. It was terrifying, to say the very least, and it was horrific. I ran faster than I've ever ran in my entire life. And my husband and I were both involved pretty deeply within the fight, trying to stop it. I'm not going to give all the details. We were both really hurt. Both dogs were really hurt. And at one point during that traumatic event, I thought / knew, like it felt like my whole family was going to die, with the exception of Angel, who was in the house. Thankfully, nobody died in that moment. But we had to make the unbelievably challenging decision to have Micah transition. Coda stayed at the vet for months recovering, and I would drive to see him every day. My arms were really hurt, and so I literally had like 3 fingers to drive with. Like it was 2 on this hand and 1 I was all wrapped up, and I would drive every day to see him. And we wanted to see if Micah could recover, but he was gone. And I wanted to save him from being in that body, being as uncomfortable as he was. And it was a really hard decision. It was one of those things that I knew in my soul was the right thing to do. And it wasn't what I wanted. But it was for the best and highest good. I'm his mom, and I know that I did everything for him that I could have possibly done. But I had to let him go. Coda eventually came home, and within a year of that, I ended up losing Coda and Angel in the same year. I felt broken, shattered. COVID had shut down the world in 2020, so I endured a lot of this alone, and I'm grateful for the tools that I have, but it was life-changing, and it was shock so many days. Like I would literally disassociate, and some days I would even walk into my house and I would be like, where is everybody? What happened? But there was always this voice, this inner knowing that somehow everything was okay in the grand scheme of things. And I mean, how does that even make sense? I literally remember a moment driving down the street screaming at God, asking why. And of course, there were many days, many moments of doubting myself, asking what I could have done more. Was this my fault? And even though I knew that there was nothing more I could have done, like the humanness and the emotions and the mind that just wants to, keep the circle of asking the same questions and re-going through it, and just never, not even to mention the physical trauma that I was dealing with and brain injury, and it was a lot. But again, I had that inner voice that would just keep going, and I really just wanted to keep my heart as open as possible. It was shattered open. It was ripped open. It was definitely a gut-wrenching time. And finally, in 2022, I just knew Bodhi needed someone. He had always had his pack, and although he was doing well by himself because he was kind of coming into his own, I knew he missed that companionship. Patrick did not want a dog. I didn't know if I would be able to do it. I never thought I would get another dog again. I never thought I would show my face in the world again when that happened. I just really didn't know what my life was going to be moving forward from that and how to even move forward from that. But I knew Bodhi needed someone, and that we all did. Especially I wanted that from Patrick. And so I started looking, and I'm pretty sure they have my picture up at all of the rescue centers because obviously I had so much fear, and I, wanted to get the right dog, and I wanted it to be perfect. And I met many dogs. But when I met Grace, I knew she was the one. And yes, I named her that because I knew that it wasn't just a name, it was a prayer and a vibration of what I wanted to live in and to move forward. And I wasn't getting her as a replacement, but I wanted her to, be that constant reminder that even through challenging times, there is grace. Grace is here. And there's more love that we can share. And she really has been my grace. She has been a grace. It hasn't always been easy. There was challenges in that. I didn't realize, all of the PTSD that would bring back. And then, I couldn't even watch dogs play. I still can't. I can't watch pit bulls playing with each other. But I am healing, and it's been a process. Again, it's a journey. I don't want to make this too long, but I tried to sum it up as best as I could and still share the experience again so I could honor it, to tell it once, and to release it, because I really want the story to be like a bridge, not just for me, but for you. If you can relate, we've all had the situations that we felt like we would never get through, and that just felt unbearable. So I just want to remind you, if you're in a place right now that feels that way, that there is grace, even if you don't feel it. And it's okay if you don't. And that there is that light within, and that you are that light. We are that light. And so may we feel that grace, and may we put one foot in front of the other, one breath, one moment at a time. And all of our humanness, hopefully with love and compassion for others, the other humans, that we're all doing this together. And may we continue to live that light beyond the stories and the heartache. That is my goal. I want to connect with other humans. I want to share stories that shape us but don't define us. I want to remind myself and all of us that we are the light. So thank you for listening. Thank you for letting me share my heart. in my story. And now I release it. It's a bridge carrying me forward into a new chapter. Hopefully, I will feel lighter in some way. Yeah. Thank you.